Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time, we are going to be looking at Kate Hudson. And
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting because, she's been known for that boho chic look for so long.
Right. Yeah. Kind of that California girl.
Yeah.
Just easy breezy.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's interesting because now she's been seen wearing these power suits. And we have this article from InStyle
Okay.
that's talking about how she wore 2 plunging power suits in 24 hours.
In 24 hours. Wow.
Yeah.
So she's really going for it, huh?
So she's really going for it. Yeah. And it's interesting because she's promoting her new show, Running Point.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And she's playing this really powerful character, owns a basketball team. And so it makes you wonder,
Yeah. Is it a new Kate Hudson? Is this a whole
Is this Kate Hudson 2.0? Is this, what is this?
style evolution? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a calculated move?
So let's dive into it. So the first suit was this gorgeous, light caramel beige color. And it was wide leg palazzo pants and a long blazer. And she was wearing it buttoned up with nothing underneath.
Ooh, that's a statement.
Creating this deep plunge. And it's pretty unexpected with a power suit,
Right. It is. And it's interesting because you have the power suit, which is, so traditionally business.
Yes.
Kind of that more masculine look.
Mm-hmm.
But then you add in the plunging neckline. And it's like you're adding that element of femininity and allure. And it's a really fascinating juxtaposition.
And then the very next day, she was seen in another power suit. And this time it was a black sleeveless jumpsuit with these dramatic side cutouts.
Wow.
And yeah, you guessed it, another plunging neckline.
She is going for it.
She is going for it. I mean,
it's interesting to think about that because, she's promoting this new show, Running Point.
Right.
Where she is playing this powerful character in what is traditionally kind of a man's world, owning a basketball team and all that.
Right.
It makes you wonder if these suits with the daring necklines are her way of kind of visually embodying that power. While still
embracing her femininity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And the article talks about how she's worn plunging necklines before.
Oh, right.
Like she wore that sleek black dress that practically plunged to her stomach back in October.
I've seen photos of that one, yeah.
And then she wore that really stunning gold one at the Running Point premiere earlier this month.
Yeah.
So it's not completely out of character for her.
Right.
But I think what's interesting is the power suit.
Yeah, the combination.
Yes, the combination feels very different, almost like a statement.
Yeah, and plunging necklines, thinking about them historically, they've always been kind of...
Oh, totally.
a bit controversial.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes celebrated for their boldness and sensuality, but then other times criticized for being too revealing or too provocative or whatever. So
it makes you wonder, is she trying to say something here? Is this a conscious choice?
Yeah. Is she playing with those historical perceptions?
Right.
Maybe reclaiming the plunging neckline.
Right.
And using it to project an image of confidence and strength,
Which would totally make sense considering her new role.
Yeah.
But we also have to think about, she's been seen in a lot of her classic boho chic looks recently, too.
Right. We can't forget about those.
We can't forget about those. So, paisley maxi skirts, billowing blouses, even a fur-lined coat that's giving me, major Penny Lane vibes.
Oh, yeah, totally. A little Almost Famous throwback.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not like she's completely abandoned her signature style.
Right.
So it begs the question, is she trying to merge these two aesthetics?
Yeah.
Or is she simply just playing with different sides of her personality?
It's a fascinating puzzle, isn't it?
It is.
Because on one hand, you have that powerful, almost boardroom-ready look with the suits, but then she's keeping those flowing bohemian elements in the mix as well.
Right. It's almost like she's saying, I can be both. I can be powerful and feminine and bold and free-spirited.
Right. And that's where it gets really interesting, because what does that say about how we perceive celebrity style and how it evolves?
Yeah.
Are they allowed to be multifaceted, or do we try to put them in these boxes?
Such a good question. And to unpack all of that, we have to look at a few things.
Mm-hmm.
First, the details of these power suits.
Yeah.
Because there's more to them than meets the eye.
Absolutely. The fabrics, the cuts, the colors, even the way she styled them, all these little choices contribute to the overall message.
Right. And then we have to consider, the context of her new role, the timing of this press tour, and how it all fits into the bigger picture of her career.
Right. We can't just look at the clothes in isolation.
Right.
We got to think about the why behind the choice, the intentionality.
Intentionality,
the potential impact on her image and her career.
Okay, so let's dive into all of that.
We were talking about how those different styles,
Yeah.
the really sharp tailoring of the power suits and then the more free-flowing boho looks.
Right.
They're both present in her recent fashion choices.
And you know what else I find interesting? The article specifically mentioned the color of that first suit.
Oh, yeah.
Like that light caramel beige.
Huh.
It's almost like she's taking something traditionally seen as safe.
Right.
And then giving it that edge with the plunging neckline.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's not a bold, in-your-face color.
Right.
It's subtle.
Yes.
Which makes that neckline even more unexpected.
Exactly. And it makes me think about the message.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about power.
Yeah.
But a different kind of power.
Uh-huh.
Not aggressive or over the top, but more understated and confident.
And that actually aligns with what we're seeing in fashion overall. Like, there's definitely a movement towards more subtle expressions of power, especially for women.
Yes.
It's about owning your space without having to shout about it.
Mm. And it's not just about the clothes themselves, but how she carries herself in them.
Right.
Like in the photos, she looks so comfortable and self-assured. It's like, this is who I am. Take it or leave it.
Which, let's be honest, is a pretty powerful statement in itself, especially in Hollywood, where there's so much pressure.
Oh my gosh, yes.
To conform to a certain image.
Totally. And speaking of powerful women, she just had a baby last year.
Oh, that's right. She did.
I can't help but wonder if that's playing a role in this style evolution, too.
Yeah. I mean, becoming a mother is such a huge turning point.
Huge.
In a woman's life.
Mm-hmm.
And it often influences how they see themselves.
Yeah.
And how they want to present themselves to the world.
Maybe she's feeling more confident than ever, and her style is reflecting that.
It's possible.
Yeah.
And, we've seen her rock everything.
Oh, yeah.
From Bohemian Goddess to red carpet glam over the years. So
this power suit phase could just be her latest exploration.
Right, or a way to just push boundaries and see what resonates.
Yeah. Totally. And with her audience.
Yeah, because remember, celebrities are always sending messages.
Oh, always.
With their style choices. They know people are watching.
Right.
And they're using fashion as a way to communicate something about themselves.
So what is she trying to say with these power suits and these plunging necklines?
Right. Is she challenging gender norms? Is she embracing a more mature, powerful version of herself?
Right.
Or is she just having fun with fashion?
Or is it all of it?
I think it's probably a combination of all those things.
It probably is.
And that's what makes it so fascinating.
It does, but let's go back to something we touched on earlier, the contrast between these power suits and the boho chic looks she's also been wearing recently.
Yeah.
Because if we're talking about a style evolution, we have to look at the full picture.
Right, exactly.
It's not like she's completely ditched the flowy skirts and the paisley prints. I mean, we've seen her in those too, sometimes even in the same week as the power suits.
Right, so maybe it's not about picking one style over the other.
Yeah.
But more about embracing the full spectrum of her personality.
Right, like she's saying, I can be powerful and feminine and edgy and romantic.
Yeah.
I'm not just one thing.
Yeah.
I'm all of these things.
And that's a really empowering message.
It is.
Especially for women who are so often told they need to fit into a certain mold.
100%.
It's about breaking free from those expectations.
Yes.
And celebrating the complexity of being human.
And fashion is the perfect tool for doing that.
It really is. It allows us to express different facets of ourselves,
Totally.
Experiment with different identities and just show the world who we are.
Exactly.
Or who we want to be.
It's like a visual language.
Yeah.
And she is speaking volumes.
She is.
But, we've been focusing a lot on the clothes themselves.
Right.
And we can't forget about the context.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, she's promoting this new show, Running Point.
Right.
And in Hollywood, every red carpet appearance is strategic.
Very strategic.
So how do these style choices fit into the bigger picture of her career and this particular project? We've been talking all about, Kate Hudson's style, the power suits, the plunging necklines, all things.
And that contrast with the boho chic still lingering in there.
Exactly. And we were talking about the comics of her new show, Running Point.
Right.
So how do these power suits, which are pretty different from her usual style, fit into, this strategy of promoting a project?
Well, I mean, you think about the character she plays in Running Point.
Right.
She's the owner of a basketball team.
Right.
A woman in a very much a man's world.
Totally.
So, maybe these bolder fashion choices are a way to visually align herself with that character.
Totally.
To project that same power and confidence.
And the plunging necklines add like another layer to that message.
Yep.
It's like I can be feminine and powerful at the same time.
Exactly. You don't have to choose.
I don't have to choose.
Yeah. It really challenges that old stereotype that women have to, downplay their femininity.
Totally.
To be taken seriously in a professional setting.
Which is so relevant right now with all the conversations happening about gender roles and equality and all that.
Absolutely. And, it's not just about the message, but it's also about the attention.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, come on, those plunging necklines are turning heads.
Oh, yeah, she knows what she's doing.
I mean, they're generating buzz, and that's what you want.
Exactly.
When you're promoting something, you want people talking. You want to create that intrigue. You want to stand out.
So it's brilliant.
It's a really smart strategy.
It's brilliant because it aligns her with the character. It gets people talking, and it really, puts forth this image of her as a strong and confident woman.
And it's working. I mean, we're here dissecting her wardrobe choices, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it makes you wonder how much of this is, calculated for the press tour versus a genuine style evolution.
Right. It's hard to say for sure, but I think it's probably a bit of both. She's always been somebody who's not afraid to play with fashion.
Yeah, she's gone through different phases over the years.
Exactly. But there's always been that thread of confidence.
Yes.
And individuality running through her style choices.
100%.
So maybe this is just the latest iteration of that, a way for her to kind of express this new facet of herself.
And it'll be interesting to see where she goes from here.
Right. Will we see more power suits even after the Running Point press tour is over?
Will she go back to boho, or will she do something completely different?
Yeah, who knows? The possibilities are endless.
But I think the takeaway is that, she's showing us that style's not static.
Right.
It can evolve, it can be fluid, it can reflect different parts of who we are.
And it can be such a powerful tool for self-expression and for communication.
Exactly. So as you're following, her style journey and even your own.
Yeah.
Remember, there are no rules.
Right.
Experiment, have fun, and don't be afraid to use fashion to tell your story.
Because at the end of the day, that's what personal style is all about. Expressing yourself authentically and confidently.
And on that note, we are going to wrap up our deep dive into Kate Hudson's fascinating style evolution.
We hope you enjoyed this conversation about fashion and celebrity and the power of personal style.